Griffith for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate what you all do. I know it's a tough job. I will say that we have some natural gas pipelines coming through my area, and earlier Commissioner Clark indicated, and I think some of you all have touched on it as well, that there are folks who are saying that they just want to slow everything down in order to stop gas pipelines and other things. But I have a situation where I've got folks who may feel that way, but I've got a lot of folks who just want answers to questions. And while in regard to the Mountain Valley Pipeline, certainly some of those issues were raised by the Mountain Valley Pipeline not contacting folks like the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors before announcing they were coming into the community and starting to do work. But likewise, the Roanoke and New River Valleys have a population of roughly 300,000. We've got a pipeline coming through. West Virginia, they had 4 hearings. In Virginia, we had 2. Only one was in the Roanoke Valley, New River Valley area directly. And so as a result of that, the Roanoke County Board of Supervisors requested an additional hearing. I'm not saying it would have been fun for your folks, but it would have been helpful. And likewise, because both Congressman Goodlatte and I thought that it was appropriate, we sent a letter saying we agree with them and we would ask you to hold an additional hearing. You signed the letter, Commissioner, saying, yeah, we can't do that. I think that does sometimes makes the problem a little bit worse. I know it's not easy. I know that you, as you just said to my colleague, you may need more resources because of what's going on, but a lot of my folks are reasonable people, but when they feel like they're not getting answers, they become more aggressive, and as a result of that, both Craig County and Roanoke County, and I'm sure there were other factors, but one of the factors, they've both intervened in the process because they felt like that was the only way they could keep a finger on what was happening. So I don't know that there's anything you can comment on in a specific case. I just pointed out as a note. I've got a lot to get over and not as much time as I would like, of course. FERC's regulations currently require the agency to consider the use of existing right-of-ways, Commissioner Bay, Chairman Bay. What do you all do to make sure they actually look at existing right-of-ways? Because we recently had a factory that brought in natural gas, and now here we have another gas pipeline coming through generally the same area of Giles County, and then that's where the factory was. What do you all do to make sure that they actually did look at using co-location possibilities, particularly when you're looking at, my district has a lot of national forests and the Appalachian Trail. So what do you all do in that regard? If you could be quick, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So during our review process, we examined the impact of the proposed route, but also alternatives. And so if there is an existing right-of-way that is feasible, that can be very helpful both to the company and to FERC in making a decision about whether or not to certificate the project. So it certainly is a factor that we take into account.
So if folks in Roanoke County, Giles County, Craig County think that there's a better path that would be co-located, they should let you know. Is that what you're telling us?
Well, I should say that that is an option to be considered. In some cases, it is not easy to co-locate 2 pipelines where they're side by side. That can present its own challenges.
And I recognize that and appreciate that. I'm going to switch gears on you. I am concerned about grid reliability. I am concerned about the problems we had with MATS when several facilities in my district were closed down just before the Supreme Court ruled that they didn't do it right at the EPA. I am concerned that you all don't get notice under the Clean Power Plan for interaction about what's going to happen when the plants close down. These are great concerns. But I have one that may not seem as big, but a number of my colleagues have touched on the grid reliability issues, and that is the shore issues related to lakes where there are hydro power facilities and plants. And I'm concerned about private property rights, and I can't speak for any other state, but I have several of these located in or near my district, and as many of the members of the committee know, I'm a recovering attorney. I used to be a small-town country lawyer, and I've looked at the deeds. And so one of the things I have that I don't know that you all have taken into consideration, not only do I think folks ought to be able to use the lakes for recreational purposes, but I think there may actually be a taking that you all are unaware of, because in some of those deeds that I had an occasion to look at over the course of 28 years of private practice, the power company didn't get the land under the water. They only got the right to flood. And in that case, under the Virginia law, you extend those property lines out. So if you come in and you say somebody can't build a dock, you're actually telling them they can't build a dock on their property, which I would take as a taking. I don't know if you all are aware of that. I don't expect an answer today, but could you look into that for me and see if you all are aware of that issue and whether or not, how that impacts your requirements on the shoreline? Because that's where people are very, very concerned, and I'm concerned that there may be some liability for the federal government there that people aren't really aware of. I've seen the deeds written 3 different ways. 2 of them, you all are in control. 1 of them, you aren't. So I just raised that for your attention. Let's go back to grid reliability now that I've raised that issue in regard to the shore, and I think it's very important people be able to access. Big money generator in our area where we're losing lots of jobs. Oh, I'm already over. Thought I had 30-some more seconds. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Griffith. This time I recognize